Hello and welcome. So right now I'm looking at our first two rows done on this project. So today we're going to take a look at doing the third row. The goal here is just to kind of get started with momentum so you can kind of see how the pattern builds. We probably won't do a video on every single row, but definitely this first section when we're learning the technique, going through the pattern, seeing what fits, getting feedback. We'll have some of these, and then once we get to a point it'll probably be progress rows or progress photos as posts. Definitely encouraging others to send their feedback, and then we'll start getting into shorter videos as far as showing some troubleshooting ideas, different ways we can go about things and share those as we go along, and just keep the engagement up and everyone interested. So we're going to go ahead and do the complete of row 3. This, in theory, should be kind of, what I was looking at for day 1 is getting the first 3 rows done, just trying to keep up with the momentum. So we get all 89 rows done this month of February. So it's going to look at doing 3 rows today, 3 rows tomorrow, 3 rows the next day, and then maybe 4 for the fourth. So like the first 4 days, we can complete 13 rows, which will finish off that section. So let's go ahead and get started. You can kind of see, got the first 2 done. It's going to match what we have as far as the pattern on Stitch Fiddle. So you can see the highlighted portion here. We're still building out the diamonds or in the blocks themselves. So previous row we were doing a pattern of 5 3 5, so we're going to start with 4 5 4. So increasing these small blocks by 1 each time for those center diamonds, and that's what that looks like. So as always, we're going to go ahead and get the yarn attached to the row. So we'll have both loops, pull those through, line it up, and then let's pull up the dark pink to lock it in. And as you kind of get used to the pattern, it gets a little faster each time. Obviously, I have a lot of practice with it, so I'm not expecting everybody to necessarily be as quick as me, but there also might be others who are quicker than me. So, plus I talk a lot when doing this, but we'll see. All right, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to do 4 of the dark pink, swap over to the light pink, build this little diamond out, do 5, then we're going to grab dark again. And so this is an example of when you're moving too fast. So I actually just kind of single crocheted over the yarn, and I didn't actually grab the stitch. So back that out real quick. Felt a little light. Try that one again. Make sure we grab the stitch this time. We'll finish off this small section with 4 of the dark pink. And we're going to go ahead and swap over to the light pink. So that is that first one. We'll scroll the progress tracker. So on the large section where we were doing 10, 5, 10. So now we're going to do 8. And then we'll do 9 and 8. So we're increasing this red diamond by 2 on each side with each row, is what that means. So we'll do 8 of the light pink. Let's try to get that tension a little bit better. There we go. Let me pull some yarn. So we'll have 2 of the light pink from the previous row, and then we're going to swap over to the bright red. And then we'll do 2. So we increase, 2 on each side. And that bright red really drowns out in the camera. Swap back over to the light peach for the next section. All right, so we're going to continue with the 4-5-4 pattern in the light peach and light pink. So 4 peach, 5 light pink, let's swap to the light pink for the next section. And if you ever feel like something gets a little wonky, it gets a lot better with weight. So once you really start building on top of it, just the weight itself gets it a little, it'll straighten out a lot of problems. If you do see, stuff start kind of bending a little bit, sometimes it just needs a little bit of a tug, nothing drastic. Loosen it up. You're carrying a lot of, yarn weight there. So that kind of, sometimes if something's caught or bent a little bit, it'll kind of tweak that foundation row into a bend. It's nothing crazy, but you might see me every now and then kind of tug on it. I guess this is a kind of good opportunity to kind of point some flaws out. If you do see kind of a dip here, all that means is that particular color switch I made a little bit too tight. You can see it here as well. And you can also see like this particular red stitch. I know the camera just hates this red, is almost lost. So it's something I will make a note of as I go along. It's not worth frogging at this time, because we kind of have the leniency of having this front loop act as a bar, to kind of really, it hides a lot of flaws in your tension, to be honest. So, but I will keep in mind that I will need to kind of be a little bit looser with my tension upon color change. That's all that means. And I think it has to do with this red yarn is actually significantly, it feels different. It's actually pretty thin compared to the others, so you'll work with it. But I think that's the reason I'm struggling a little bit with it. They probably put some sort of different mix or the dye mix to make it that bright color is all. coming up on the color change. So here I'm going to go ahead and pick up the red. And so sometimes what happens, especially at this step, you can kind of see I pull it a little bit tight, just so my bar doesn't get too loose. And I think that's might be causing, so I'll just not tighten up quite as much. And then when I switch colors, I'm just going to be really generous on the length of this second bar, that way. So you can kind of see how, this is actually getting a little short. So I'm going to try to pull it up a little bit. So again, the bar across each stitch helps really hide a lot of flaws, but we'll try adding a little bit more length in those loops to see if we can get a better result here. So same thing here. I think on that one, I got this part too tight. So you can kind of see if you pull that bar too tight, it actually like disappears almost. So that's why I always say it's a balance of tension, not necessarily just tight tension. I let the hook itself, the 3 millimeters, really act as my, what creates such a tight stitch here where you don't see the colors through. That's more because of the size of my hook rather than how tight I pull on the yarn. So yeah, if you find yourself, you're able to see, hey, I see all these, colors poking through the stitch, it probably means that this is too tight. Um, in some cases, it might be that, you'll see actually way too much space. It might be in that case, if it's space in between stitches like this, that means it's too loose of tension. If you're seeing the colors in the stitch, so this is like in between the two bars of the stitch, like here, that means your tension's too tight. It can show either way. So it's just kind of balancing that tension with progress. With, your first row may not be perfect, second row is a little better, third row is a little better, and you get just used to it over time. Obviously, I always say it's all about momentum. You don't want to get caught up in, oh, I have to make 10,000 stitches. Yeah. It's like, yeah, you do. But in the end, we're just going to work it row by row and get a little better each time. So that looks a lot better than this. So you can see the difference here between, there's an actual stitch in between these two colors of my right hand. It almost disappears. Same thing with this one. There's one right there. It's going to be hard to grab on the next row. Is how tight it is. And this one is so much, on the left is so much straighter. And it's just going to be getting used to that red yarn, making sure we're not making those transitions too tight. You can actually see one here is pretty tight too in that peach. So just have to pay attention more. Apologize for my camera shaking. If I tap the table a little bit, it shakes. All right, let me pull this over. So now we're going to get into a dark pink and light pink. So that is going to be the 4-5-4 pattern. 4 of the dark pink, 5 of the light pink, and then another 4 of the dark pink. And hopefully, as we go along, you can visualize the triangles a lot better, and we won't have to focus so much on the count. All right, we're going to pick up the peach, hide the twist. All right, and so the start of this section always gets funny just because the light peach is used as the background for 3 sections in a row. So if you were counting, this is always the section that's going to look a little different. We're still going to do it section by section. So this next section is a longer section. So we're going to do the 8-9-8 pattern and start from there. So we're going to do 8 of the light peach, 9 of the dark pink, and then another 8 of the light peach. However, at the end of that 8, we're not going to quite switch the color on the hook because the next section we continue with the peach. So here, I need to back that out, make a color change. I might have gone one past 3, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So that would be the end of that section. We're going to get into the smaller section now with that same light peach color. So we're going to do the 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 additional. I have a little bit of a knot forming. That's okay. Now we're going to switch to the light pink. We're going to enter the light peach into the other section. We're going to pick up the dark pink for the 9 stitches. And here in a minute, I will move the tracker over. This little bit here of the 8 light peach. So you can kind of hopefully see I did miscount on the number of darks. So I had 3, 6, 9, 10 instead of 9. It happens. So we're going to back that out real quick. Try that again. Too excited. Now the counts are right. So we'll have 8. All right, let me move the tracker over. And we'll do the last 4 in dark pink. Okay. All right, so you see the row 3 now. I'm just gonna go in. So this, you can see that bar got a little tight. I'm not doing anything drastic. I'm just gonna try to grab that illegible bar and stretch it out. Don't nitpick too much. Just kind of grab the obvious if it's something simple to fix. So you'll see the peach. We'll come in here and you'll see the beginning. Same thing, just grab that second chain. Hopefully that doesn't disappear. And then that's the beginning. Okay. Hope to see you on some other videos. Uh I'll probably do kind of row by row videos, at least for the first section, get used to the pattern. Again, probably after that, we probably will, just do the photo updates. If you want to see something very specific, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, post your progress on Facebook under the Crochet with AshMe group, and I'd love to see you there. Thank you.